Hi, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday night. I can't believe it. Shabbat Shalom to everyone who celebrates and happy, I believe it's the fifth or sixth night of Hanukkah. I can't be sure. I left my menorah in California like a dum-dum. So of course, I could check the internet, but I haven't done that. Happy Hanukkah to everyone, and happy post-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas, this kind of weird spot that we're in. I am so happy to welcome some folks from SUNY Cortland today. What you'll find in the title is that I've described it as what's better than an amazing BFA in New York State? How about one that costs half as much as other BFAs? That is what I love. So without further ado, I want to introduce Dina Conley, who is the coordinator of the BFA program, and Jacob Carl, who is the musical director of the program. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I would love to get to know you a little bit. Dina, can you tell me a little bit about your background and how you got to Cortland?
Yeah, sure. I have a BFA in acting from Marshall University in West Virginia. So I've lived, I think, in a lot of states, just probably not too far west. I've traveled all over this good country. And my MA is in theater history with a minor in directing. And then I have a PhD in directing from Wayne State in Detroit. And in between my undergrad and my grad days, I was an actor, obviously New York City, pounding the pavement, also in Washington, D.C. And I came to Cortland because I was teaching in Texas. This is my fourth academic appointment. I taught in Iowa for a while, Texas for a while, and I particularly liked the idea of being in a SUNY system and being 3 to 3.5 hours from the city, so I could get there to see productions and to recruit. And I thought it would be a really interesting fit. And they were looking for someone specifically to be chair of the department and to head the department and to recruit new people, which is what I love to do.
Hallelujah. Well, thank goodness that you and the university found each other.
Yes.
Jacob, tell me a little bit about how you got to Cortland.
Yeah, sure. So my undergraduate degree is in vocal performance from SUNY Potsdam, which is the highest you can go in the state before you go to Canada. And then I did my master's in vocal performance and musical theater at NYU Steinhardt. So I was living in New York City. I got an agent. I was auditioning, but I was always a pianist, and that's how I made money. And so I started doing auditions for the different casting offices in the city. And I was brought to Syracuse, New York, to be the resident director of the Red House Arts Center for a year.
Cool.
And that is when I saw a Facebook post from a colleague looking for a music director for SUNY Cortland's production of Urinetown. And I had never heard of SUNY Cortland, but I said, I want that job. And so I went and I freelanced for a show. And then I was brought in as a visiting professor. And then I joined the faculty full-time from there. And now I live here full-time. And I love it. I love it so much.
That is amazing. I should add here, I am also a SUNY graduate. I have my my BA in theater from SUNY Stony Brook, which is out on Long Island.
Yeah.
It is mostly a med school with a very, very small small theater program, and I can attest to its well, actually, the theater program is gone at Stony Brook. It's only a minor now. So thank goodness we have Cortland, y'all. So
Yes.
I want to ask you about, when I ran into maybe you two, maybe 4 years ago at Unified in New York City at what was then Pearl Studios. And it was a BA. And now it's a BFA. So can you tell me what that means for the students?
Jacob, you want to take that? You want me to take it? You want me to take it? We have the BFA and the BA now. And basically what we looked at was our curriculum was essentially a BA. Sorry, it was essentially a BFA under the guise of a BA, because they were taking so many of these courses that weren't required, but that they wanted to take. So we always had a BFA. We just went through the paperwork to make it a BFA. And so what it means for students is the BFA is really a pre-professional training program for people who want to do this for a career. And the BA could be that as well. But with the BA, there are fewer classes within the department that you're required to take. And so you have more GE credits than in the BFA. In the BFA, you have about 30 credits that are outside of the department. And so that's what it really means. And a BA is geared towards somebody who might loves theater, loves musical theater, but doesn't know necessarily if they want to be an actor in musical theater or where their niche is just yet.
Got it. Okay. Jacob, does that sound about right?
Absolutely. Because we have a lot of graduates that have their degree as a BA, but there's no real course difference than our current BFA students. The only difference is that now those courses are required. And I think that the idea of the BA is still really cool because we do have some graduates who became dance teachers or went into tech theater, and the degree still really helped them because they do get training in everything if it's BA or BFA, which is really cool.
That is really cool. I'm always a big advocate for choosing what is really up your alley. I think that a BA is absolutely right for some people. If they aren't really sure if they want to do this for a living, it's a lot of time to invest in a BFA. There's a lot more credits to take, and it's a lot more intense schedule. But if you also want to double major, or maybe you want to do something else, a BA, especially at a program like yours that has so many opportunities, sounds awesome.
Correct.
Yes, we think so.
So let's talk about those opportunities. What are the performing opportunities like for the undergrads, paying special attention to the freshmen?
Sure. I'll take this one. So we do 4 productions a year, 2 musicals and 2 plays, sometimes, as we always say, 3 musicals and 1 play. And I'm sure Dina will talk about this as well, but we only have the musical theater major in the program. Right. There's no acting, there's no dance, there's just musical theater majors. So it's just our program that are in the plays, that are in the musicals. So they don't have to compete with acting majors who may always be cast in the plays. The musical theater majors are always in whatever.
Yeah.
So we don't have a bench system. So first year students are in the casting pool from the very first day, which is an honest statement because often our auditions are the first or second day of school. And so they arrive and we say, go, sing for us. And then we also do a cool event called Cortland New Voices, which is just a first year cabaret. And it's a way to introduce the first year students to the larger campus. We weren't able to do it last year because of COVID, but we did get to do it this year. So we combined the first and second year students. And it's just a way to like introduce who you are and who you want to be and be known as when you get to school. And it's becoming a larger campus event, which is very exciting. But the freshmen, right from the beginning, are expected to just be like the upperclassmen, get the same opportunities, be cast. We've had freshmen in leads before. Dr. Conley has cast first year freshmen as leads before. And if not the first semester, absolutely the second semester as well.
Got it. Dr. Conley, does that sound about right?
Yeah, that's absolutely great. And like Jacob says, we say it and we do it. We routinely, I would say more times than not, have freshmen in the casts than not have freshmen in the cast. We just believe that, yes, the classroom is an extension, right? And it's fantastic and we want you to work hard there. But the way you really learn is to get on the boards.
That's yes. It always seems funny to me when there are BFA programs or training programs where they say, yeah, you'll be in class for the first like 4 semesters and then you'll have time on stage. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
Give them time on stage now.
Right. And I just feel like you produce better artists when you put them to work right away. Like if you make them wait a year, like that, they mean only get 3 years of opportunity to maybe be cast.
Yeah.
Like that's so scary, especially like if you're paying, a private university price to not be cast your first year. Like that's so upsetting.
So you mentioned that there is a musical theater program. There is not a different dance department or a different voice department.
Mhm.
So talk to me about what kind of what's the course load for a BFA student? How much voice, dance, and
Oh,
acting are they taking? Let's give
oh
this to you,
boy.
Dina.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, please.
They are taking. You are in a dance class every semester that you're here. We have ballet 1, 2, 3, and 4 and advanced ballet. We have jazz 1 and 2, tap 1 and 2, theater dance 1 and 2. You are in a voice class every semester that you're here, an hour-long voice class every semester with your voice instructor. And then something we do that's unique here is every Wednesday and Friday they have rep class where certain people perform in front of all of our voice instructors. So you get feedback from everyone, not just your singular voice instructor. And then acting, we have acting 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're repeatable for credit. We're mostly Stanislavski based, but we do use Meisner, Michael Chekhov.
Michael Chekhov's my favorite.
Oh,
That's right.
good. Yes, get some of that psychological gesture working, right?
Yeah, that's
And
right.
and gosh, we have musical theater history and music theory, which Jacob teaches, basic musicianship, piano class. The great thing is too, you take piano class. If you want to continue on with piano, which I know is something that is, as advisors, Jacob and I always are telling them, we
Yeah.
have an applied instructor as well. And you can take private piano here, applied piano here as part of your course load.
Wow.
Something that's really key that I like to point out is we don't have any extra fees. So I know just a couple years ago, my son was looking for musical theater programs, and I was really astounded by all of the extra fees that are involved. With us, your tuition, whatever, it's all included. You're not paying for an accompanist. You're not paying, any extra fees for any other applied classes. And in addition to the private voice that you have
Yeah.
every week you also have about 15-20 minutes with our accompanists to work over your pieces, either that you're working on for auditions or in rep class. And I know that my colleague Jacob Carl also has offers of voice classes depending on his schedule. So that's 3 separate times that you're working on your voice, again, for no extra fees.
Oh boy, that is so nice. Jacob, can you tell us a little bit more about what that's like to work with the accompanist?
Sure, yeah. So the accompanists have a schedule where they all get 15-20 minute slots with each student privately one-on-one, and then they're also brought into the voice lesson for the second half of that voice lesson. And that's all free, like Dina said. And then I also offer half-hour coachings on top of that. I'm focused more on acting through song.
Nice.
And the accompanists are more focused on musicality, making sure those pitches and rhythms are correct, and trying to reinforce anything the voice teacher really implied. So really, if you think about it, the students are getting that 1 hour voice lesson, and then they're getting about another extra hour per week for free with other instructors. And what I think is fabulous about that is that they don't just get the one opinion, they get the opinion of all the voice teachers plus
Yeah.
all the coaches. And then they can go, I like that opinion, I'm gonna take that one maybe tomorrow, and then I'm gonna try these
Yeah.
other ones. And that way they're not just trying to please their teacher, they're really trying to figure out which ones are forming my character and are gonna get me where I need to go.
Boy, oh boy. There are times that I wish I could re-enroll to get my undergrad degree again. This is one of those times. So they're getting so much in terms of professional, prep. Uh, there is it Cortland Rep, Cortland
Mhm.
Stage? That's the professional
Portland
playhouse.
Repertory Theater. Mhm.
Can students work professionally while they're still in school? Do you know?
Yeah, so Cortland Rep is a summer theater, a professional summer theater. They do some programming through the winter, but it's mostly their main season starts in May, I believe, and ends in August.
Right.
But we've had many students who have been hired for shows or have done their internship program, which means that they
Right.
get to do all 5 shows
Ah,
and live on site and get to do everything, which is really cool. And I work there as well, and Dr. Conley's has worked there kind of. It was a COVID year, but
I know.
it might happen. And it's a great connection to have Kirby Thompson, who's the producing artistic director there, he comes into our program as well and he did one of our mock auditions one time. And so we have a good relationship with that theater, which is, I know that some schools also have relationships with regional theaters in their cities, and we are also creating that relationship now, which is really exciting and a great opportunity for our students.
Mhm.
Boy, no kidding. That is really cool. Um, um, so, I guess this has to do probably with the BA versus the BFA, but what is the opportunity to study abroad like for a student?
We have a ton of students who study abroad. Since I've been here, we have lots of them. The great thing about SUNY is if SUNY Cortland doesn't have the specific program or country that you want, SUNY Central does. So basically, wherever you want to go, they can make it happen. And we've geared our curriculum to make sure that the best time for our students to go is in their junior year.
Okay.
And they take their classes, it comes back, they're not behind.
Wow. Even for the BFA?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whoa,
even for the BFA.
that's nuts.
Yep, we geared it that way.
I really want to highlight that for a minute, because we do have a lot of students who are interested in study abroad and they want to get a BFA, and that's often mutually exclusive. So I do just want to highlight that for a minute for everyone watching, that you can get a BFA degree and do a full semester study abroad, not just the summer and winter. That's really unusual. Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, we've had a couple students since I've been here who did programs in London and said that it was like a really defining time for them to go. And they were still qualified when they came back to be in our productions, because we often hold our auditions during the semester when they're gone, but they still send in videos and we still consider them anyway. And I feel like studying abroad is a really important thing to do if you're interested in doing that. Like the experience you have, you don't get anywhere else. And I know that it's so hard to schedule that in other programs, but the way that we did plan out the junior and senior year, that junior year has a slot specifically for it if you're interested in going.
Wow. Where did you study abroad, Jacob?
I did a program, I did it in the summer because Potsdam did not have a curriculum that let me go during the school year. But I did a 3-month long program in Salzburg, and it was through the University of Miami. So I didn't even get to do it through SUNY because they didn't have a program I was looking for.
Right.
But that was for classical music. There's like specific really great musical theater programs that are in London. There's a couple in Scotland that look really amazing, and there's some in Australia. And I'm like, please go do that.
Gosh, how cool. Every time, I'm sure this is a musical theater nerd thing, anytime someone says Salzburg, I just think of the Von Trapp family.
Sure, yes. There are tours and everything that you can take when you're there. They don't really care about it, the people in Austria, but
of course.
Yeah.
It's like walking down Manhattan and someone saying, "Oh, when Harry met Sally," and you're like, "I guess."
Sure, yeah.
So speaking of that kind of time management, what are the opportunities like to minor or to double major?
Well, minoring is relatively easy, whether it's the BA or the BFA. Minors here are either 17 to 20 hours, 17 to 21 hours, roughly, depending on what department you're looking at. We're very honest about the BFA and double majoring, and even the BA and double majoring. The BA is easier, of course.
Sure.
The BFA and double majoring is very hard because you're going to have to look at probably 5 years in your program.
Okay.
Just because classes don't match up with other departments.
Totally.
And so you're left like, well, I need both of these classes.
Right.
And so that can be very difficult. And it's not something we particularly encourage just because it's so hard.
And this is a opportunity for me to say, like, this is not unusual. This isn't a SUNY Cortland thing that, like, it'll probably take 5 years. You can double major at Michigan in their BFA program, but it'll take 5 years. Just the amount of classes that you're taking, plus you have rehearsal in the evening, and so some of your other major classes just aren't available to you. So if it's really important to you, you can totally do it, but just know it's going to be a lot of work.
Right, because like the workload alone, like in the BFA is like we expect you, like when you're not in class, to be practicing and applying as much as you can. And like, if you also are trying to do a biology major or something, then you've got lab hours to do. It's like, when do you do all of it? Like, how do you?
No
And it's not that
sleeping.
it's impossible. You have to be a very specific kind of person
Yeah.
to get that done, and I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah. Right. um, when it comes to like the next, sort of the handoff of the students from the college world into the professional world, we have all of these classes that we're taking and professional development training opportunities with the regional theater. Is there any kind of showcase or introduction to agents or casting directors, Dina?
Oh, yes. At the end of 4 years, we take them to New York City and we put them in front of agents and hopefully get them representation. Obviously, for the past 2 years with COVID, that's not been possible, but we have definitely done that in the past. We're looking into something new. I'm going to let Jacob talk about the production that we just worked on because he was the music director on that, but we got some different advice about Showcase.
Sure. So our fall production was Big Fish, and we had the associate director of the Broadway production, Jeff Whiting, come and direct our production. So he
Oh,
was on
cool.
staff here for the past 4 months. And he's also been our showcase director for the past year as well. And so we have a tie with him and Open Jar Studios in the city, which is his own training program, his own rehearsal studio space. It's where Moulin Rouge rehearsed their Broadway production. And we were speaking with him this year, and he recommended that we actually start considering bringing agents and casting directors to Cortland to spend a weekend with our graduates instead. I know that other schools have started to explore this as well, and we're severely thinking about it because our class sizes do tend to stay small, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But that way, our 10 to 15 people in our class get to meet that casting director and that agent and develop that relationship over 2 to 3 days. And that agent goes back to the city knowing exactly who they are. Like, that's priceless. Like, if they come to a
Absolutely.
showcase, they see you do your minute-long cut, and then you are swept off the stage and do something else, and like they don't get to know who you are. So we're really excited to try and explore that in the spring semester.
Yeah.
And Jeff's going to help us get some people from Telsey in and some people that he trusts to work with our graduates.
Boy, is that cool. I mean, to have a name like Jeff attached to it really, really helps bring folks in.
Mhm.
And I will say, I think the model, this is my own little soapbox, but the model of like curtain up, curtain down doesn't get us as far as much as it does matter who you are as a person. Like, do I want to represent you? Do I want to get to know you? So having folks on campus really makes a big difference. I think it's an awesome direction to go into.
Yeah, and like the stress of like trying to
Yeah.
choose the perfect song that like shows everything you can do, plus like what you are like as a person, plus like it just like it's so right, how do you do that? And I can't like I mean I did a showcase, but like the students now, like the pressure that they feel, and they're like, well, do I show my soprano or my belt? Or like can I do both? Like I don't know. And I'm like, do what you think feels best. Like, I don't know how to help that. But if
Right.
they spend a whole weekend, then like that agent leaves knowing, well, they can do many things and
Yes.
I can send them out for this and that because I saw everything that they have. And that is just like, you can't get that in a 32 to 60, whatever second. Yeah, you can't do it.
I almost thought you were going to say a 64 bar cut, and I was like,
Yeah,
we're all
almost.
applying to Cortland. Great, we got 2 minutes in the room. This is awesome.
No,
Not
I
quite.
almost did.
Um, we have a question from Heidi, who's watching on Facebook, and she wants to know, where is this school located, and are there dorms on campus?
Hi, Heidi. This school is located about 3 to 3.5 hours north of New York City. And yes, there's absolutely dorms, lots of dorms. One that all of our students, especially the first years, like to live in is right across the street from the Fine Arts Building,
Oh, how
which
nice.
helps when you have ballet at 8:30.
Yes. So how big is the Obviously, most programs take more students than they can actually use, and they wait on some
Yes.
no thank yous. So at the end of the day, how big is the freshman class?
We aim for 20. That's what we want in
Right.
every class. We want 20. Right before COVID hit, we were having our largest year. We had about 250 people audition for the 20 slots. And then obviously COVID happened. And to be honest, like every other school, our numbers have dipped these last couple of years.
Right.
Until we've got half of that in our freshman classes. I did call around to other schools just because I was interested, and it seems to be where they mapped out as well. So we want to build back up this year, but 20 is about what we can handle, because we still want to keep it small, because we've got to train you in 3 areas. And when you walk out of here and you have SUNY Cortland on you, we want to make sure you feel ready.
That's awesome. Okay, great. So this is for the parents. Let's talk about tuition, room, and board.
Money.
What does that number come out to if I'm from out of state?
30,000.
I don't know the numbers, so this is all you.
Yeah, let's give it to the coordinator.
Money. I'm always in charge of the money here.
Right.
It's about 30 to 31,000. One thing I like to point out that is just exclusive to Cortland is we have what they call the Future New Yorker Scholarship, which takes $6,000 to $7,000 off your tuition every year you matriculate. So it really makes it gets it very close to in-state tuition, which is about 21,000 to 22.
Gosh.
So we have students, specifically some students who've come here from New Jersey, that have said it's cheaper to go out of state here with this scholarship than it is to stay in state.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So it's just something to look at. Really look at that. Future New Yorker is how we get a lot of our students. Maryland, border cities, Virginia. We have someone from Roanoke right now, specifically because of that scholarship.
Wow. And this is actually a good time to point out, hey, Maryland, you don't have a BFA program in your
At all.
state.
Don't we know it? We've got a couple people from Maryland.
We do.
We hit that state hard.
That's right. That's right. So does the, all the money at a university, when it comes to trickling down, usually ends with like scientific research and athletics? As artists, we tend to get like last in line. So does the department have any talent-based aid to offer?
We do. We do have a few scholarships available within our department that we can award that stay with you through the years that you matriculate. We do have other scholarships available that are an audition basis every year. So you can already be here, maybe not have gotten that scholarship, but you can audition, and there are other, specifically their voiced scholarships.
Okay.
And those are awarded every year as well.
Oh my goodness. Heidi wants to know, what's the closest airport? Which I think is a question that we don't ask enough of our university.
That's a great one. Syracuse, 30 minutes away.
Great.
30
okay,
minutes.
Awesome.
Unless you want to fly, I guess, into Ithaca, right, Jacob? That's 20 minutes.
Yeah, you can fly into Ithaca. It's a very small airport.
Yeah.
You have some random long flights to Florida, which is nice in the winter. We're like directly in the middle between New York City and Buffalo. So like there's Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, New York City, and then you could rent a car and just drive a couple hours if you don't want to pay the prices to fly into Syracuse.
Yes. How funny. It's like a Orion's Belt of theater program. Syracuse, Cortland, Ithaca. Wow, how funny. That is so cool. So now I have to know, will you be at Unified here in New York City this year?
We will be at Unifieds the 29th and 30th of January. 29th are specific audition dates, and then 30th we do an open call for anyone who didn't get in. You just come and you sign up. We aren't with Unifieds because to be a part of Unifieds, you have to go to all auditions. And for us right now, it's just not feasible for us to really go to California yet.
Right.
When I was at a school in the Midwest, we did it at Chicago, but we will be there at the Open Jar Studios in January. So we're excited to see everyone.
Yes. All right. So everyone who is in the CAP parent support group who's watching this, y'all, our hotel is across the street, and now you know that
So's
Cortland's
ours.
going to be here. So,
We'll be
hey,
right there with you.
yes. Are you staying at that little boutique hotel?
We're not boutique. We're staying. I think we're in the big one. We're the Marriott,
Wow.
but it's right across the street.
Amazing. And by the way, Open Jar is like on the corner of like Broadway and like
Broadway.
48th.
Mhm.
Right.
So like you're right in the thick of it. Like you'll finish your audition and then go see Jagged Little Pill. Like
Correct.
you're right in the middle. So I want to ask before we go, what have I left out that you want to talk about, Cortland? I know we haven't talked much about the campus. Can you, is it a big campus? Or are we talking UCLA? Is it a cute little campus? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I'd say it's small to medium. I think it's very cute. I walk through it all the time, especially when I can't get a parking spot. I park down at admissions and you like wind your way through, and I always like forget how nice the campus is. It's on top of a hill. And of course, our fine arts building is the very, very top of that hill. So people do have to walk up to get to it, but we do have a bus system as well that like takes the students up and down that hill. It's quite old as well. We have a building called Old Main that's from the 1800s, and it's got stone pillars in there. It's stunning. Our building, the Fine Arts building, was renovated in the last 5 to 7 years or something.
Oh, wow.
So our theater was completely redone. The entire first floor, our recital hall, our chorus room, all those rooms have been redone. The campus built a student life center that has a dining hall and this humongous gym. And I go to that gym as well because it's included as a professor, and it's one of the nicest places I've ever seen on a campus anywhere. It's like full glass walls, and there's a track that's hanging. It's insane what they built in this gym. And I guess the food there is the best food on campus. So students tend to walk down that hill to get there, and they're like, "That's where I'm having my meal tonight." Yeah, but also Cortland itself is a pretty small city because we are like closer to major hubs around us.
Right.
And we're quite a quick walk down to our main street that has like a lot of local restaurants that our students like to go to. There's a dance studio, a coffee shop, plant store, Chinese food, like whatever you want is all on that street within walking distance.
Oh
So
my gosh.
even if you don't have a car, like it's easy to get around Cortland. And then the school does offer, like I said, a bus service that does take the students to Walmart. It's easy to get to Ithaca if you want to go to Target, if you want to go to Syracuse to the mall there. It's pretty easy to get there either with public transportation or everyone else has a car and you can just take a ride with them.
Right. Um, uh, when is the deadline to submit? Is it too late? Are you doing pre-screens?
We don't do pre-screens right now. Currently, we are in the conversation to do those, but right now we don't. We have rolling admissions.
Okay, great.
So really, our last on-campus auditions are in April.
Oh, wow. Okay,
We're
great.
in New York City in January, and then we come back to New York City in March. And then in
cool.
April, we have our last on campus. And so
Okay,
May
great.
1st is deposit day like everybody else.
Yeah.
But right now we have rolling admissions, which is always tricky for us because we have to
Yeah.
keep track of who we are admitting. Just make sure those numbers are okay, that we don't get crazy.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about us too is we don't make you wait until March 15th to find out if you got into the program. So typically, if you audition for us and you have all your application materials in there, depending on how you've said you want to be notified via email or mail, if it's email, sometimes you can find out in a week or two if you got into the program and into school. So then you can start planning, because the idea behind that we like is college is it's a big decision and you have to go where it feels right. So we want to give you enough time that you can come and visit campus. And if you don't know enough about us right now, if you go to our website, just go to Cortland's website, look up performing arts. Jacob has some great videos on there that give you tours of our building. We have tours, you can see the outside, and we have a Q&A with our students. So there's all kinds of things on there. There are clips of our shows. So it's a good way to get to know us.
And for the folks who maybe can't make it to New York City, are you offering recorded auditions or virtual auditions?
Only for international students.
Got it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be so exciting to see you in January.
Oh,
I
yeah.
cannot wait. All right, y'all. If you have more questions for Dina or Jacob, send them my way, and then I will get the answers for you and get them back to you. Also, if you are watching this and you're like, oh no, I don't even know where to start. Oh, I'm a junior. That's okay. On December 16th, we're having the big seminar, Getting on a School's Radar and Getting Off the Wait List. If you are clueless as to where to start, we're going to start at the very beginning, a very good place to start. Thank you, Salzburg. And we're going to take you all the way through financial aid, finding the right fit for you, finding your materials, and taking away all your stress. Also, I want to remind you, this week is the last week. If you sign up for the Summer Intensive happening in Orange County, California, this coming summer, you will save 25% on the flagship program. Dina and Jacob, thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. This was
Thank you.
awesome.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.